Now arriving at Destination Indie.
Welcome to Destination Indie, your home for indie games, specializing those on the Xbox Game Pass service. Joining me today are your hosts, Kyleia, the aficionado,
Hello.
Producers Logun, and myself, Zammwow. Hi, guys.
Hello.
How are you?
How's everyone doing today?
Considering it's just after 11 a.m., I'm not awake yet. But I'm here. I'll try and do this.
Just had a delicious brunch, I guess. Just staying up late last night.
My phone was like, hey, you went to
Ready to
bed
go.
at 3 a.m. Are you sure you got enough sleep?
Yeah.
So what are we checking out today as far as games go?
Lish, what are you talking about?
All right. We are going to talk about a Memoir Blue. A Memoir Blue is a interactive poem, is what they're calling it. I think it's more of a point-and-click game that is recently released on Game Pass, and by recently I mean March 24th, so maybe not so recently. The game is made by Cloisters Interactive, which is a pretty small studio of about 16 people, and as far as I can tell, it is their first game. They did delay it 6 weeks when it was initially supposed to come out, so it was supposed to come out much earlier than that. And it is published by one of my favorites, Annapurna. Annapurna does embrace the weird, and I appreciate that. So, but it is a one-player, like I said, point and click is the best way to describe it, I think. But it sounds like we've all got very interesting opinions about this game.
Oh my
So-
gosh.
Do you want to start off with what it is? In terms of...
Boy. So when we talked about Artful Escape, Logan had brought up a question if we thought it was a game, and boy, is it a stretch on this one. Is it so much? It is. It felt like a video that they threw in some elements so that they could turn their short film into a game.
I think that is not unfair. There's definitely... I would put it more in the category of like a visual novel in terms of your interactivity and what you're actually doing to participate. I don't think it's far out of that category.
Yeah. I could agree with that. It's a story of a girl ride a river and drown the whole world, and who, you know what? Actually, kind of true in this. But,
Sort of.
yeah, visual novel is a good way to put it. With a few minor interactable events that, yeah, they really just felt like they were thrown in just to make it so that they could call it a video game.
It's hard for me to dig on that though, because like some people, like when they get together and they say I want to make a game, like this is their dream.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is the thing that they want to create. So while it doesn't fall into a like heavy interactivity like level, I still feel bad like just digging on it saying it's not a game. I mean, it is something that we did interact with, but it is more, if you were to put like on one side art and one side game, like it's way over on the art side than it is from the game side.
For sure. Oh boy, I'm not even sure how I want to put my words on this one.
Okay. Well, let me start with you're playing through the story of a girl. This game has no guidance, no words, no written story. It's all done via images. So what I'm telling you I'm understanding from the story is my interpretation of what happened. You're playing through the story of a young girl. From what I can tell, her mom and her dad divorced when she was little. And her mom tried her best to take care of her. She's kind of a workaholic. She was, either in her study or at work all the time. And it just became overwhelming. So the daughter figured out that she liked to swim, but her mom wasn't always able to really be there for her moments of accomplishment. And then the game kind of follows her and her feelings about that and her kind of trying to reconcile with her mother because she harbors a lot of resentment against her mother. She feels crushed by like this weight of expectation and her own thoughts, especially when she's off at college, and it just kind of goes through that story. Would you say that's a fair synopsis?
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. It it felt like it felt like they wanted to make like a really cute, well, cute because it's pretty looking. It has some really cool visuals like this. Things in the present are more of a 3D image. Things in the past have this kind of pastel 2D image, and so it's a pretty game. But it felt like they wanted to make like a short animation,
Yes.
and it was easier to make it in like a game engine, and so they threw in the interactables to make it a video game.
I mean, yeah. See, okay, so I'm kind of torn. I went in with no expectation of anything. I knew it was a shorter game, and I wanted to do a mini-sode for Destination Indie. So I thought this would be a good candidate. I knew nothing. I knew nothing about the gameplay, the game style, anything like that. So imagine my fun turning on the game and going, okay, what do I do now? Because it really just, there's no hand-holding at all. You are given a scene, which is basically kind of like, would you say watercolor?
Yeah.
Muted.
Yeah. Yep.
What, Logan?
I'd say it's very muted tones, if anything.
Yeah, it's kind of like a watercolor muted tones, and in each scene, you're given something to interact with. So in your very first scene, she's holding up her medal from whatever, swimming competition she's done. And then you basically have to like click on the medal, click on her, click on the microphones that are clearly like trying to interview her. And you just kind of keep clicking on everything. And then there's lots of flashes. And then she like ends up being in her living room watching herself on the TV. And then like you have to look through a bag, answer her cell phone, mess with some ice cubes in a glass, and like the whole thing is just trying to figure out what the heck am I supposed to be doing at this point in time. If you guys choose to play this game, I do recommend 100% mess with everything in each scene. Find out what you can click, find out what you can drag, because again, it doesn't give you any guidance, and sometimes really cool stuff happens when you interact with the scene. Sam, you want to kind of pick up from there?
You can kind of cheat on that too, because you can use the left and right triggers to bounce between interactables.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. I figured that out partway through.
Oh my god! I'm just sitting there and click, 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 trying to figure out what I can interact with. Yeah. Oh man.
It was an experience.
That's more of it's less of a game and more of an experience, but maybe not in the way that Artful Escape was an experience.
No, I definitely liked Artful Escape better. I mean, that said, this was super short. Has a ton of achievements for as short as it is.
Speaking of, the achievements are so okay. You can get 1,000 out of 1,000 in probably an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most. There are no achievements for story completion, so you have to figure out how to get the aforementioned achievements. For example, I'm gonna ruin one for you. you have to take all the ice cubes and fling them out of the glass in that early scene that I mentioned in order to get an achievement. So the good news is it's replayable. There's a chapter select. So you can go back and play a specific chapter in order to get achievements if that's what you're here for, if that's what you want to do out of the game. It should probably be worth recommending if you're an achievement hunter. I mean, an hour is basically nothing. You can get a Ratalaika done in that time too.
Yeah, I didn't 100% it. I didn't particularly feel like going back and redoing some of the stuff that I'd missed. And I ended up actually just kind of quick checking through the achievements as I was playing to be like, oh, I gotta do this and this. All right, maybe I'll see if I can mess with this and try and get this one done. I got a bunch of them, but I felt no urge to go and redo any of it. I don't think there's not
There
a
is
chapter select, is there?
There's a chapter select.
Oh, well, then.
But
A+.
it doesn't tell you that either. Just like it doesn't tell you anything else in the game. Like when you are on the main screen, I want to say in the bottom left there's like a mirror or something like that. You click and then it brings up different so in the beginning you had to grab the radio and drag it down to start the game. It brings up like the radio, it brings up like a carousel, it brings up like 5 or 6 different like key points throughout the story, and you have to click on them and interact with them in order to get back into that chapter. Again, no help at all. I understand they're trying to be artistic and everything, but I really wish there would have been a little more guidance.
There's the scene where you have to like, is it like it's almost like a safe door or something. You have to like spin a wheel to open this door, but you have to pull the vines off of it first.
Mm-hmm.
I did not realize that you had to pull the vines off first, not for an uncomfortably long time. And I was like, what in the wait, are these and I like started dragging and you have to and pull until they finally release, and I was like at that point I was just like, oh, can we get done with this, please? Like that honestly, I would have enjoyed this more just watching stuff than half of the interactables. They were more annoying.
Yeah, there's a couple times I got stuck and a time it got glitched on me, and that really kind of, for a short experience, like you don't want to feel stuck for minutes at a time if the whole game's like an hour, you know? Like the radio one. Man, I was on that radio for a while because you click the buttons and different things happen, and then you scroll through the radio, different things happen, and I'm like going through all these things like, okay, so now it's raining on a couch. Or is that a light? Or I think it's rain. You know what I mean? Like, what do I do with that? Okay, now it's a train, and now it's raining again. And what do I do with that? You know what I mean? Like, I just kept messing with it, and eventually I figured I just needed to go to the end. But it's like I said, I'm not saying it needed to tell us what to do, but I do think that the complete lack of guidance kind of ruined it for me. The other thing is, like, do you remember the ticket scene? So there's a point in which you have to like put a coin in and then get some tickets out, and then you have to like stamp the ticket. And then put the ticket into like a little deposit bin. And I did that scene like 4 times because amazingly I messed it up. So I put like one of the tickets but without stamping it over into the thing. And it wouldn't go in, so it covered the thing, but then it wouldn't let me pick it back up. So I couldn't put any other tickets or pick it back up to stamp it and put it into the thing. So I had to replay that scene multiple times. And I was very unhappy with that. And I don't know if that's a glitch, because there's an achievement that says like something about like cheating.
Yeah, get through without paying for the ticket.
Yeah, so I was trying to not stamp the ticket and just shove it in the hole. And then, like I said, it wouldn't go in the hole, so it got stuck, and then it would like not move, and I had to restart that chapter, and that was very frustrating because I did not like having to replay that chapter 3 times. Which again, for an hour long game, like that's frustrating.
Yep.
And I feel like we're really digging on this game, and I don't mean to, because they're okay, well, there's some good things going for it. So don't let us dissuade you from trying this out. I mean, again, it's only an hour. It's pretty easy achievements if you're an achievement hunter. I really enjoyed the music. I thought the music was lovely, truly.
Oh, yeah, I will say that. I agree with that.
I think it was done very well. The graphics, I think, are done pretty darn well as well.
Yes.
I really did enjoy, you mentioned it earlier, I enjoyed the differentiation between the 3D for the present day and the 2D when she was interacting with her mother or having a memory from the past. I think that was a really cool way to tell that story, especially considering, again, there's no guidance, words, anything like that. And if you pay attention to this story, it is touching. I don't get emotionally touched by games. You know, I enjoy the stories and everything like that, but they don't really get to me. I cried at the end of this game. And it's been a long time since a game has been able to make me cry. So I will give it credit for that. Like, there's definitely like an impactful ending there, I think.
It's a melancholy story that ends on kind of a weird cliffhanger.
Yeah.
I both liked and didn't like, because it kind of lets you interpret what you want from it. But yeah, for an hour, I guess it's worth giving a try, especially if you want the achievements. But if you're the type that's not super into an experience over a game, then my recommendation would be a no.
So I have a question for, well, Logan, have you gotten to the end yet?
I'm at the carousel where I'm opening up the replacing the pieces of mirror.
Oh,
you're
carousel
like
progress?
You're like 2 to 3 minutes from the end.
Yeah.
Would you say it's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow?
I don't understand that reference.
I get the reference. Because Zamm and I are like the same person, so.
Well, apparently not with this game.
No, not with this game. Like I said, I'm not going to say like 10 out of 10, best indie game I've ever played. Like, I appreciate what they were trying to do. But I do, once you kind of get through the frustrations and difficulty and just kind of poking around to get your way through the story, I do appreciate the story itself. I think that's one of the things that was done well. So I would say graphics, soundtrack, and story were done well in this game. And I could probably take or leave everything else.
Logan, you had a lot of thoughts last night as you were starting to play it, and I was listening.
Yes. Let's get a third opinion up in here.
How you feeling, bud?
Well, hold on. Let me pull up my webcam so folks can see the weird voice talking in the background. Okay, so you guys probably can't see my webcam, but I'm on the screen for you guys, so I apologize for that. But so yeah, I've been playing through this game since last night. I've been playing through it while you guys have been talking. This is not a good game. This is a fine story. This is a shitty game. There's absolutely no dialogue. So visually impaired people do not get to experience this game.
That's fair.
There's no direction. So people who are not intuitive with gameplay are not going to be able to play this game. If you can't give me the actual start menu without testing me, then you've already lost my interest. Like, you've already told me like how you want me to play this game is for me to discover what I have to do. And if you want me to do that, that's fine. At least teach me how to do that with more than just an open blank field. Like, if I haven't figured out how to get to your start menu, then you're already telling me you don't want me to play your game. So that's right off the bat, the first criticism. I'm at the end right now. She just turned into the 2D person. She's having this moment with her mother, even though she hasn't really actually reconciled anything that she has had any issues with her own issues. She's just now okay with it. Like, she hasn't even talked to her mom about what's going on. It's just, she wrote
They could have talked, but there was just no sound.
Yeah. For an hour game, I swear to God, whoever made this game just record some frickin' dialogue for your game, all right? Just go into a booth, use a microphone for your Teams thing, and record some lines, and then throw them in here. Because even if it's not the greatest voice acting, at least it's another medium that you're connecting with. Like, amazing music, great music. All you got to do is put a couple voiceover lines of like some internal dialogue. It's not hard. So there's that. This is the perfect Netflix game. This is exactly what I think Netflix gamer or Netflix wants for their games. They want things that you can do with your remote control to get through a story. This story would have been great if it was a Pixar short. Like, if this was a Pixar short and I didn't have to interact with anything, this would have been great. But the fact that they are forcing me to try and interact with stuff breaks the immersion of the story, because it takes me to a new scene and then nothing. And I'm like, oh, that's right, I have to do something to progress the story. But there's no story. There's no, like, the only story that there is in this is that a girl grows up in a broken home. She finds that she loves swimming and gets lots of medals, but then crushing under the weight of dealing with being a competitive swimmer in college drowns out her desires to just be happy. So she reconciles that to try and figure out what made her happy, which was just the simpleness of being a child in her life, and the broken feelings that she has about how her mom was never there to experience her accomplishments doesn't get resolved, because she never actually has that conversation with her mom. She just resolves that it's okay that her mom was not there. So there are so many things in this story that I'm like, okay, this is fine. This is an interesting story. But I really like, it's doing the thing that I don't care about. And there's a very personal side to this, which is you should connect with your family and not worry about your personal accomplishments. I don't connect with my family, so I didn't connect with this. And having the story be, it feels like one of those like point and click adventures like you're talking about. Like, there are mysteries and things that you have to figure out on your own. And if you don't figure those out, then you don't know how to progress. And there's no helpful nudge like in Nintendo games where they do a great job of being like, hey, it's been a while, do you want Luigi to come help you? It's like, there's nothing like that. And for an hour-long game, I feel like there could have been better guidance if you got stuck, or at least a guided mode that would take you through the actual story. Like, if they really wanted to make this story known for people, they could have had two modes: a mode where you go through and you unlock the little puzzles, and then a guided mode that takes you through the story and does all the little puzzles for you.
I like that.
So there's plenty of things that I think that this studio could learn from to make an actual video game. But this game is what we call one of those artsy ones. There's either mechanically diverse ones or there's artsy ones which are telling a story. And indies always have the trouble of not having enough team to be able to balance both of those equally. The ones where you do see that happen are the ones where people are like, oh my god, this is the most amazing indie game ever. This is what indies should be, like Hades or Kena Bridge of Spirits, things like that. When it's games like this, these are the indie games that people sit there and think like, oh yeah, this is why I'm not really into indies. Because there's not enough of both. You have to have good story and good mechanics to draw people in if you're trying to tell a story. You can't just have really, really good story and no mechanics. And the mechanics in this are not good enough to give me a reason. There's more dialogue in the end credits here that I'm listening to than the entire game. Why are there lyrics to a song, but there's no audio, there's no lyrics, there's no narration for your actual game? Why did you pay the person to put lyrics to your music for the credits? I don't care about the credit scenes. I care about the story.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hold you for 1 second. I do want to say, at the beginning of that rant where you went on about the story and your interpretation of it, I like that. I really liked how you summarized the story. I think you did probably you did do a better job than I did summarizing the story.
There's no story. It's all interpretation, and it's all just kind of hearsay. Like, your story perspective was just as valid as mine. That's the thing about this, is because they didn't tell me what the story was. They presented a lot of images.
Okay. So spoiler.
Sorry.
Beep. Spoiler point. Do we think that she actually now? I know you kind of feel like she didn't talk to her mom. Do we think her mom is dead? Do we think she reconciled with her mom? I thought her mom was dead, and then the phone
That's
rang,
the
and then
cliffhanger.
I was like, okay, so did she just answer the phone for her mom, or now that she's come to peace with the whole thing, or
I don't know. That's the cliffhanger at the end. It's like hey, you can guess, kind of interpret it, but really it could go wherever, whenever, whatever. I don't know. I
Logan?
I feel like there's opportunity where I don't think she actually reconciled with it. I think she just realized that her mom was doing the best that she could, and she's okay with it now. Like, if her mom called, then her mom called. But like, this is called a Memoir Blue, and the blue is, I'm assuming, representative of the ocean, and the memoir is something that you usually have when someone dies.
See, I felt like
Yeah.
going through the ending that the mom was dead, and this was her kind of just maybe they reconciled right before she passed away, and now she's gone. But then the phone rings at the end, and that completely threw off what I thought was going on. So then I was like, well, maybe they reconciled. See, I'm of a differing opinion than you. I feel like they actually did reconcile, and it was just represented in that cartoony aspect. But I feel like they actually did reconcile, and that's why she was moving the trophies at the end to show the pictures of her again instead of covering them up. And then they were all in a happy place, but I don't think it was just all in her head.
So if they did do that, then I guess the point is that at the beginning of the game where you click the phone and you're doing the text messages, and then you get a phone call, are you suggesting that was the phone call to her mom to reconcile, and then the whole game is us basically going through her past of why she's unhappy about what's going on? This is what upset me. This is the issues that I had, and because I mean, if that's the case, then that's a really great way to approach it, because you do see she was unhappy when they were traveling, and she was going through the process of dealing. She was talking to her mom about how I didn't like how you and dad broke up, or how I didn't like how you came to take photos, but you had to go to work, and going to the vault to unlock the open up the door is her diving into the deepest secrets of what's actually troubling her and stuff. If that's the case, then that's a really interesting way to approach the actual story. But it leaves so much of that to interpretation that you're losing the thread of the narrative if you can't lay it out for people that don't have enough vested interest in what's going on. And I think that's one of the main issues with the game is that it doesn't give you the narrative thread that is strong enough to let people pull themselves along with the actual story.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean,
me
I
too.
like your possible interpretation of the whole story and how it's handled, but you're right. There's
not enough to go on.
there. Yeah. Sam,
So.
you got anything to add?
No, I didn't like it. So my final judgment is if you want to experience, play it. I like Logan's idea of the Netflix game, but
That's actually where it
I-
would be homed best, I think.
yeah, I could take it or leave it. Actually, I could just leave it. I could leave it.
If you're watching this right now, this is we're closing in on the final thoughts about this game. This episode is 30 minutes. Watch this episode, consider it good. That's about, you got about as much story and
you didn't even have to
interpretation
put the
as
whole
you
hour
need to.
in.
This is a way better distilled version of what this game is.
Oh my gosh.
It's an hour long. I fell asleep a half hour into it because it was I couldn't even stay up the extra hour to do it. I had to wake up here and do it last night. And it's because there's no dialogue. There's nothing keeping me interested.
Don't play it if you're sleepy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Just don't play it.
Well, okay, so I always try to be fair to indie developers. Like I said, this could be somebody's dream to make this game, and we're just tearing it apart. Like,
That's fine.
I try to be fair, but I do feel like there's definitely some serious flaws.
You can tear down a game critically and say that this game needs to be a better video game. Otherwise, just make a short and sell it to Netflix.
Yep.
I'm glad it was available on Game Pass. Had I paid for it, I maybe would have felt bad about that purchase.
I would have been mad.
Yeah. I wouldn't feel bad about
unless it was like $1.
Yeah, like Artful Escape is money well spent. This is not what I would consider money well spent.
Mm.
And I'm not. This is not
comparatively.
Sorry,
yeah.
Memoir Blue.
Yeah, this is not me trying to be a dick to the devs.
Sorry.
I'm glad that you made a game. It's more than what I could ever do, but I'm playing through your game and I'm not entertained by it because it hits differently for me, and there wasn't enough of a game for me to be interested in it.
The other thing that really got me kind of jumping back really quick, because I just saw one of my notes and I wanted to mention it. I was convinced there was going to be puzzles that I was going to have to solve. And so early on, like there's some TVs and stuff that show some symbols. So I'm like writing down the symbols, thinking that like I'm going to need these and like on an upcoming scene or something like that. No, you don't. Nothing ties to anything else in terms of like you see something and then you're going to need that later. So I felt like that could have been better handled as well, because I was convinced. I kept seeing these same symbols over and over, and I'm like, I need these symbols. So I'm like literally writing them down. I have star, shell, fish, kelp, wiggle written down.
I love that. Oh my god.
I would say play it for the achievements. Play it for an hour experience if you want, but mostly for the achievements, because it's an easy 1,000. But I played, and there's no replayability. Like you've gone through it, you're done. The only replayability is to go back and grab an achievement because maybe you didn't move something in the correct place or whatever.
Yeah,
so.
I was super happy to uninstall it as soon as I finished it. I looked at the achievement list and I was like, I'm missing like, I don't know, 4 or something. And I went, nah, I'm good.
But yeah, I mean, as somebody who has mother issues like all the time, it definitely, I think that's part of the reason it really sucked me in the feels more than maybe another game would.
See, that's where I have mother issues, but this just made me realize like I don't have to have a relationship with my mother. Sometimes family members can be toxic.
Yeah.
All
right then. So it sounds like we've all pretty much given our final thoughts on this.
Yeah, I think that we've got a good cohesive thought process going through this episode. Anybody have anything they'd like to add?
I don't like the chapter select.
Oh no?
No.
Was there anything you did like about the game?
Like I said, I thought that this game would be a great story. If they just made it into a story and they took me through that, again, this would be a great Disney Pixar short. Like a lot of Disney Pixar shorts are just short little films. They don't have to have dialogue. They convey a story through visuals, which again, let me just stress, a lot of those shorts have audio descriptive narration that you can put on. This has nothing that I've been able to find to have any kind of narrative because there's interactive elements and they do not explain it. So if you cannot see, this game is not going to convey much for you. But with the chapter select, I think that it was very boring. But like to say that it's a good game, they put something together that I think is better than most of the 2D pixel art games that I see going out there as well too. And at that point, I'm like, cool, you guys decided to go 3D. You added some interesting elements to it. You mixed in some 2D with it as well. But I don't think that like this is what I would consider a video game. Like there's interactive elements, but you know, if I'm playing on my phone and I'm texting someone, that's interactive elements and I'm getting a story from them as well. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. I think that it was a good one game that they made. I think that they could definitely do something different in the future that gives you more of a story.
I would like to see where they go in the future, just given the graphics quality of their first game. Like, I would really like to see what they can do with that power in the future. But maybe not another interactive poem.
Yeah.
There's no poem. What's the poem? Poems have words.
Yeah. All right. Let's stop bashing on this thing. Let's wrap it up. Lish, where can they find Destination Indie on the internet?
Actually, we are now independent, so you can find us on anchor.fm/destinationindie. You can contact us at destinationindie@gmail.com, and you can find us on Twitter at destindie, DEST indie, on Twitter. If you're looking for me personally, you can find me at Kyleia on Twitter. That's KYLEIA. Zammwow, what you got? How do we find you?
I'm at Zammwow on Twitter. And Producer Logun?
You can find me here, where I'm producing and playing the video games that you guys are looking at.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Whether you join us via podcast or we are also doing videos now, which we will have up on Destination Indie's YouTube page, and I haven't figured out how to link that, but we'll get that all up on there, and we appreciate your support, and we'll see you next episode. Next episode will be Chris Tales. And we are aware, because it took me forever to play the game, that it is falling off of Game Pass. So what we'll do is we'll do some sort of giveaway for a copy of the game. And then, it'd be good times. We'd still want you guys to play it even though it's falling off of Game Pass, because it's definitely interesting. We also have split opinions on that, I think. So, all right. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Any last words, Zamm?
Bye.